Well, in this, what they have given two congruent circles. Congruent circle means what? Well, they have the same radius. They have centers at points 2 comma 3 and 5 comma 6, and they're intersecting at right angles. Then what is the radius equal to? We have to find the radius. Options are given to us. Okay. So we have this figure. The angle at which they intersect is 90 degree, and their radius is same, that is r and r for both. So if I take the point of intersection as A, guys, what is this triangle AC1, C2? Well, it is right angle triangle. That's correct. And for right angle triangle, we can directly apply Pythagoras theorem. So if I say that I want to find my C1, C2 distance, I can say that this will be root over AC1 distance square plus AC2 square, right? AC1 is R, AC2 is also R. So this finally will become root 2R. So I have my C1, C2 as root 2R. I have C1, I have C2. So I can also find the distance between the two centers. Using which formula? Well, the distance between 2 points, and that is root over x1 minus x2 whole square plus plus y1 minus y2 whole square, right? So this will become root over x1 minus x2 whole square will become 5 minus 2 whole square plus y2 minus y1 or y1 minus y2 whole square will become 6 minus 3 whole square. 5 minus 2 whole square, well, that is 9 plus 6 minus 3 whole square is again 9. So we got this relation. 9 plus 9 is 18 and root over 18 is 3 root 2. So finally I've got 3 root 2 is equal to root 2 r, and that means my value of r is actually equal to 3. A very simple question just based on Pythagoras theorem. Have you understood? Very well. So if we see the options here, what will be the correct answer? Well, B will be the right answer. Understood? Okay. Well, in this question, what they have asked, if circles with radii A and B units, they touch each other externally and angle between their direct common tangents is given to us as theta, A is greater than B is greater than equal to 2, then what is the value of sine theta? They have asked, and they have given us four options. Very well. So we know that if the circles they touch each other externally, their direct common tangents will form some angle. In this case, it is given as theta, right? Now this entire angle is, let us say, theta with me. So I can say that half of it will be alpha, right? So alpha will be equal to theta by 2. This is my first relation. Now let me consider the centers here. I'm taking the centers as C1 and C2, right? Similarly, the foot of perpendicular from center on the tangent, I'm taking that as, let us say, A and B. Now what I'm going to do is from C1, if I drop a perpendicular or let us say a line parallel to AB on C2B, it will intersect, let us say that at some point D, for example, right? So now I can say that since AB and C1D will be equal, I'm considering triangle C1D C2, right? I'm considering my triangle C1D C2. So in my triangle C1D C2, we know that distance between the centers will be what? Sum of the radii, isn't it? So C1 C2 will become A plus B, and similarly, if C2B is A and we know that DB is B, that means C to D, the left out distance will become A minus B. Clear? Okay. So if I have C1, C2, if I have C2D, can I find this distance, guys? C1D. Well, how? Using Pythagoras theorem, isn't it? And one more thing, since I can say that triangle, my entire triangle, let us say my P is the point from where I have drawn tangents. So I can say that triangle PC1A and triangle C1C2D, they will be similar, isn't it? All the angles will be same, lines are parallel. So this angle C2C1D, that will be also alpha. So in this triangle, I'm taking the angle C2C1D as alpha, right? Understood? Very well. So we have this triangle. I have to find first C1D, then only I can find the value of alpha. And how do I get C1D? For that, you have to use Pythagoras theorem. So it will become root over A plus B whole square minus A minus B whole square. And what is a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square, guys? If we expand, we know a square b square is going to get cancelled out. So left part is 4 root over ab. So this will become root over 4ab, and the value will be finally equal to 2 root over ab. So now I have C1d with me also. Now what? Well, if I have all the three sides with me, can I find the value of sine alpha and cos alpha? Well, yes, we know sine alpha is perpendicular upon the longest side, that is hypotenuse. Cos alpha is based upon hypotenuse, isn't it? So quickly, in this triangle, sine alpha can be written as a minus b divided by the longer side, that is a plus b, and similarly cos alpha can be written as 2 root over ab whole divided by a plus b. Clear? Now, why have I found this? Because in the question they have asked what is sine theta, and I know that since theta is twice of alpha, we can apply sine to alpha formula. So this we have read in trigonometry, right? Multiple angles. What is sine to theta, or let us say sine to alpha? It can be written as 2 sine alpha cos alpha. That's correct. So we are going to apply this formula and then we'll get the answer. Right? We have just considered a triangle and find sine alpha and cos alpha by similarity. Okay. So we can say that sine alpha, when we substitute it as a minus b multiplied by 2 root over ab whole divided by a plus b whole square, and finally it comes out as 4 a minus b multiplied by root over ab whole divided by a plus b whole square. So this will be the final answer of sine theta. Have you understood, guys? Very well. So if we see the options here which are given to us, we can say that answer will be C. Clear? Good. Well, in this, what they have given, if two circles of radius 25 and 16 are touching externally, then what is the radius of circle which touches both of them externally as well as their direct common tangent? Options are given to us. So I have two circles which are touching externally. I have to find radius of the third circle which is touching these two circles as well as their common tangents. So figure will look something like this. I have these two circles with me, C1 and C2. There is a smaller circle having center at C, whose radius I have to get, that is small r, and this is the direct common tangent for the circles. Clear? Very well. Now, what we are going to use here is, well, we are just going to use here one formula, that is length of direct common tangent. Yes, you heard me correct. Length of direct common tangent. Do you remember what is the formula? Well, it is root over d square minus r1 minus r2 whole square. That's correct. And what is d, guys? Well, d is distance between the centers, and r1, r2 you already know. So, in this case, I'm applying this between two circles having centers at C1 and C2. We can say that length of their direct common tangent in this case will be AB. Isn't it? So we have the formula with us. So I can say that AB value will be actually root over. Now, what is the distance between the centers? Well, if we see the figure, we know that when I join C1 and C2, I can say that this distance will be 25 plus 16, the sum of their radii, isn't it? So that will be 25 plus 16 whole square minus R1 minus R2. That will become 25 minus 16 whole square. Or let us say we take this as variables R1 and R2 only. I'm taking this as R1 and R2 only, and I'm trying to get the general formula of this length of direct common tangent. So in this case, it will become R1 plus R2 whole square. That will be my distance between centers, isn't it? Minus, I'll have one more thing, that is R1 minus R2 whole square. So what this value is actually coming out as? Well, can we simplify? It's A plus B whole square minus A minus B whole square. You have read this in difference of roots somewhere. Yeah, it is equal to 4r1 r2. That's correct. Suppose if you want to actually find it out, so let's just expand this. So when I expand this part, it will become r1 square plus r2 square plus 2r1 r2 minus I'll have r1 square plus r2 square minus 2r1 r2. And you can clearly see that r1 square r2 square is getting cancelled out. And what is left finally? 4r1 r2. Clear? Okay. So I'm writing this directly here. That this value is actually coming out as root over 4r1 r2. And if I take 4 outside, it becomes 2r1 r2. R1 r2 product will be inside the square root. Understood? Now, now I have value of R1 with me, that is 25. I have value of R2 with me, that is 16. So when I substitute these values, I can say that this will come out as twice root over 25 into 16. Now I'll use one relation that AB in this figure can be written as AP plus PB. Isn't it? I can write AB as AP plus PB. Now this AB is actually length of direct common tangent for two circles having center at C1 and at C. Isn't it? Similarly, my PB part will be length of direct common tangent for two circles having center at C2 and C. Their radii are known to us. Okay, so let's apply the similar formula. So for AB, it comes out as 2 root over 25 into 16. Root over 25 is 5, isn't it? And root over 16 is 4. So I'm writing here 5 into 4. 2 multiplied by 5 into 4 is equal to AP will be 2 root over. We have already derived the formula, that is, it is 2 root over R1, R2. So in this case, R1 is my first circle, let us say, having center at C1. So radius will be 25 multiplied by R. R is radius of the smaller circle C. Plus, for PB, it will become 2 root over, again the product of radii, that is 16 into R. Right? Now this 2, see, it's getting cancelled out. So it will become 20 is equal to, now root 25, it will become 5 root over R. Similarly, root 16 will become 4 root over R. So from here, we got 20 is equal to 9 root over R. And root over R value comes out as 20 divided by 9. And when I do the squaring, my final answer comes out as 400 by 81. Again, a question based upon simple geometry. So guys, whenever you have questions in either circles or straight lines, always try to plot the figure, and most of the questions can be just done by applying simple formula like in this question. Have you understood? Very well. So if we see the options here which are given to us, we can say that B will be the right answer. Understood? Very well. Well, in this question, what they have asked, if C1 and C2 are circles having equations, C1 equation is x square plus y square minus 20x plus 64 is equal to 0, and C2 has equation x square plus y square plus 30x plus 144 equal to 0. If these are the two circles, then they have asked what is the length of shortest line segment PQ that is tangent to first circle C1 at P and to another circle C2 at Q. Okay, so let's just try to plot the figure first and see what actually the question is talking about, isn't it? Okay, so I have the two circles. Definitely, I can find center and radius. So for the first circle, I can say the center will be minus half coefficient of x, comma, minus half coefficient of y. In this case, it will be 10, comma 0. That's correct. Similarly, we can find the radius. The formula is root over g square plus f square minus c. So g square plus f square minus c will come out as, if I want to find R1, it will be root over 100 minus 64. And this is 36. And what is the square root of 36? Well, it is 6. So I have C1, center and radius with me, right? Okay, so let me take C1 center at 10, comma 0 and the radius value is 6. Similarly for C2, if I need to find, for C2 I can say that my center again is minus half coefficient of x, comma minus half coefficient of y. In this case, it will be minus 15, comma 0 and the radius will actually be equal to root over g square plus f square minus c. That will come out as, well, in this case, it will be 15 square, that is 225 minus 144. What is 225 minus 144, guys? Well, it is 81. And what is the square root of that? 9. So I'll have my radius as 9 for the second circle. So I can say that for C2, I have the same information. Center is minus 15, comma 0 and radius is equal to 9. Clear? Okay, this is the thing. Now, since I have to find the segment PQ length, which is actually tangent to both the circles, first I have to check what is the position of circle, guys. Isn't it? So, position of circles, we know for that I have to find C1, C2 first. So, we know that distance between centers 10 comma 0 and minus 15 comma 0. It's pretty simple. Both are lying on x axis. Distance between the centers is 25. That's correct. So I have C1, C2 with me, but in this case, actually what is happening, R1 plus R2, the maximum value is equal to only 15. So my C1, C2 is greater than R1 plus R2. And if that is the case, how the circles are? Well, if distance between centers is greater than the radius, the circles are completely outside each other. That's correct. So the figure will look something like this, isn't it? Now we can say that PQ, the shortest length, the shortest line segment will be actually the transverse common tangent, isn't it? I can say that PQ will be the transverse common tangent that will give us the shortest length possible. And what is the length for transverse common tangent? Well, it is root over d square minus r1 plus r2 whole square. So I have that formula with me. So if I want to find the length of this segment PQ, in this case, it will be d square. What is d? Well, it is distance between the centers, which we have already found out. That is 25 whole square minus r1 plus r2 whole square. In this case, it is 15 whole square. So this will come out as 2 625 minus 225 whole square root. That is whole square root of 400. And finally, you know what is the square root of 400, guys? What is it? 20. That's correct. So the final answer will be 20. This will be the length of shortest line segment, which is actually tangent to both the circles. Have you understood? Very well. So if we see the options here quickly, what are the options and which will be the answer? C will be the right answer. Clear? Very well. Well, in this question, what they have asked, the common tangent to the circles equation is given as x square plus y square minus 6x is equal to 0. And another circle equation is x square plus y square plus 2x is equal to 0. Options are they form a right angle triangle or right angle isosceles triangle or isosceles triangle or equilateral triangle. Very well. So if the circles equation is given, we can quickly write the center and radius, isn't it? So for the first circle, we can say that center will be minus half coefficient of x comma minus half coefficient of y, that is 3 comma 0. And quickly, what is the radius, guys? You can apply the formula. It's root over g square plus f square minus c. So what are we getting? Well, the radius value will come out as 3. That's correct. So for the first circle, center and radius is known. Similarly, for the second circle, we can say that center will be again minus 1 comma 0, right? Minus half coefficient of x comma minus half coefficient of y, and radius, when we apply the formula, it's root over g square plus f square minus c. So radius is 1. So these two circles are known to me, and definitely I can say that they are touching each other. How? Well, distance between the centers, that is 3 comma 0 and minus 1 comma 0. What is it? Well, it is 4. And what is the sum of radius? It's again 4. That means C1, C2 is equal to R1 plus R2, which is condition for externally tangent circles, isn't it? So these two circles are externally tangent to each other. So we'll have a figure like this. We have taken centers as C1, C2. We know already the radius part, right? So this radius is known to me as 1 and this radius is 3. Okay, so let's take for the perpendicular from centers on the tangent as P and Q. Now, which triangle are they talking about? See, y-axis will be one common tangent to those circles, internal common tangent, or you can say transverse common tangent. And I have EA and EB as two direct common tangents. So this triangle which they are talking about is triangle EAB. This triangle we have to find out whether it is right angled isosceles equilateral triangle or right angled isosceles triangle. Clear? Very well. See, in this figure, what can I say is that EA will be equal to EB. Isn't it? It's the symmetric figure. We can directly guess that EA and EB will be equal. That means angle A and angle B will be equal. And this triangle is isosceles. But to check equilateral or right angled isosceles triangle, what I have to find? Well, I have to find the entire angle E. And how are we going to do that? We know O is the origin, so I'm taking half of it, let us say, as alpha. If I get the value of alpha, I can get the entire angle E, and then we can decide on the options, isn't it? Now, how to get alpha? Well, I'm going to consider my triangle EC1P to get the value of alpha. Sorry, EC2P to get the value of alpha. And we know that already C2P, that the radius is 1. So if I can get somehow value of EC2, I can get the angle alpha, isn't it? And how I'm going to do that? Well, we'll do this by applying similarity of two triangles. Yes, you heard me correct. Just similarity of two triangles. How? Let's find out. I'm taking triangle EC2BP and triangle EC1Q. Are these two triangles similar, guys? Well, if we observe, we have that EC1P triangle and EC2P triangle and EC1Q triangle, they are indeed similar. Angles are all same. That means the sides will be in ratio, isn't it? So I can say that so I can say EC2 divided by EC1 will be equal to C2P divided by C1Q. And C2P divided by C1Q, well, it is 1 by 3. Right? We have just applied similarity of the triangles. So from here, I can say that EC2P will be equal to EC1 by 3. Now, what is EC1, guys? Well, EC1 can be written as EC2, this part, plus C1, C2. And what is C1, C2? Distance between the centers. Well, you can easily find out this value is actually 4. So from here, can I get the value of EC2, guys? Please help me find out what is the value of EC2 which we get from here. We can say that EC2 value will come out as 2. That's right. So EC2 is 2 with me. That means now if I consider my triangle EC2P, I can say that EC2 is 2 and C2 P is 1, E angle is alpha. So can I get sine alpha here? What is the formula of sine alpha in a triangle? Perpendicular upon hypotenuse, that's correct. And guys, what do we get sine alpha value from here? It is coming out as 1 by 2. That means what the value of alpha is? Well, you are right, alpha is 30 degree. And if alpha is 30 degree, guys, what my entire angle E will be equal to? Well, you are right, E will be equal to 60 degree. And if my angle E is 60 degree and we know that angle A and angle B both are equal, that means what the triangle is. Well, all the angles will definitely come out as 60 degree. That's correct. And the triangle will be equilateral triangle. So this is how we have found out that the triangle which they are talking about, EAB, will be an equilateral triangle because all the angles will be 60 degree. Have you understood, guys? This is what we have done using simple geometry. And always remember, most of the questions in coordinate geometry can be done by applying geometry. Yes, you have to just plot the figure and you will definitely figure out some formula or other, and you can do question in a very simple way. So if we see the options here, we can say that D will be the right answer. Understood? Very well.